Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the coaching hour. If you can hear me, just let me know in the chat box. If you can hear me, just give me a yes or a hi in chat box. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to subscribe our channel and let me know by commenting in the YouTube comment box if you guys can hear me. Awesome. So you can hear me. Wonderful. Let's switch on the video. Here we go. All right, here we are. So I welcome every single one of you from whichever part of the world you're joining us today. If it's morning, if it is evening, or whatever it's there, just that wish to you. All right. Perfect. So we are here and we are going to talk about a very interesting and impressive topic today in the coaching hour. And it's about breaking the illusion of a fear because in reality, the fear is an illusion. It is an illusion. Now, what is an illusion basically? An illusion is not in reality, but it appears like a real thing. That's how our fears are. Our fears are not real. They are the mental dialogues that are playing games with us. And they want to keep us stuck in our present reality. Our fears don't want us to grow and become big on life. And that's what we're going to discuss today. We're going to talk about what kind of fears we usually have. I'm going to talk to you what kind of fears you have in your life. And then I'm going to give you an analogy that I have developed over my experience, and if you start using that analogy, your life will begin to change. And I can promise you and I can assure you that with the 100% precisional accuracy. And I'm very much prepared for today's session because I have already set up my intention. My intention today is to help you understand the root cause behind fear and overcome it. I'm going to teach you like why we face fear and how to overcome it. Yes, it won't be, overall big because fear is a big subject, but I'm going to give you an idea that if you start applying that idea, your life will really, really begin to shift. All you got to do is just pay attention and really, really stick to the lessons that I'm about to share. So I hope you all have pen and paper ready. If you don't have, take a minute and bring your pen and papers ready. And once you're ready, let me know in the chat box. Grab a pen and a paper and just say me yes in the chat box once you're ready with a pen and a paper. All right, you're ready. Priyanka said, I love the first slide. Awesome. Thank you so much, Priyanka. YouTubers, if you're on YouTube, are you ready with a pen and a paper? If you are, just let me know in the chat box. All right, so I assume that most of you are ready. So here is what you have to think about. The beginning of conquering your fear. So we have to start with some question, because if we want to conquer anything in our life, we need to have a very solid idea about it, not just a surface understanding. We need to have a deep understanding. And the questions I'm going to ask you, they're going to help you to develop that deep understanding. So let's go step by step. Here's the first one. How much your fears has cost you, or how much my fears has cost me? You think that question for yourself. How much your fears has cost you? On a scale of 1 to 10, write down that number on a sheet of paper that you have in front of you. You don't have to tell me. If you want, you can tell in the chat box. I'll just tell it to yourself in that sheet of paper. Do it for you. Do it for you. Give yourself a number from 1 to 10. And when it's done, let me know in the chat box. From 1 to 10, give yourself a number. Any number. Here is my YouTube open. So guys on YouTube, do that. I hope you're following it on YouTube. Okay. Once you are done with that, giving yourself rating out of 1 to 10, just let me know in the chat box. Ask yourself how much your fears has stopped you. If your fear has not stopped you in your life, you can give yourself 1. If your fears has stopped you, give yourself a number 6, 7, 10. If your fears are stopping you a lot, you can give yourself a number 10. It's a rating. 1 being a lowest number that your fears doesn't affect you, 10 being the highest number that your fear affects you a lot. Perfect, Prima. Love it. All right. So somebody said on YouTube 10. You got to work very hard on this then, Ajay. You got to really take it seriously. So here is the next question. Have you allowed your fears to stop you from taking action? Ask yourself this question. Have you allowed your fears to stop you from taking action? And I know many of you are going to feel resonated with that, because many of us do that. Many of us, allow ourselves to get stopped and don't take action. I know many of us are living in that space. Write down on a piece of paper. It's simply a yes or no question. If you have allowed your fears to stop you from taking action, type yes. All right, so here we go. Next question. What would your life be if you don't entertain fears? Now, that is an interesting one. If you don't allow your fears to stop you, how will your life will be? How your life will be? Think about it. Think about it for a minute. Your life is going to be so amazing, isn't it? It is. Think about it. Think about it. Really think about it. Think about it and let me know in the chat box. Here we go. Am I honest and committed enough to make the changes required to live an ideal life? If you're honest and if you're committed, you will know it, and you will know it by your actions. You don't have to, praise yourself with words and all that stuff. It's your actions that are going to demonstrate to you. These questions are essential if we want to start our journey to like conquer the fears, because it is very important. It is very, very, very important. So now let's move ahead. I did a survey like in my group. It was around a year ago. And I asked people about the different fears they had. And this is what they replied me. Someone said, I have a fear of change. Someone said, my biggest fear is rejection, fear of ending up being a medicure. I have a fear, not reaching my goals, fear to take action as the fear is stopping me, fear of not falling things in place. My biggest fear is rejection. My fear is to be a home mom, and all kind of fears people has reported to me. What is your biggest fear that you want to conquer? Put it on a paper right now. Put it right there. Whatever your biggest fear is, put it right now on that piece of paper. Go ahead and do it. Let me know once it's done. If you're on YouTube, guys, do the same thing. What is your biggest fear? Put that on a piece of paper. Go ahead. It is going to be very interesting, but it's a valuable session that I'm giving you here. Think about what is your biggest fear and put that on paper. Once it's done, if you're on YouTube, you can type in the YouTube comment box that it is done. Yes, if you are here on with us on Zoom, you can type here in the chat box on Zoom. All right, so there are a couple of done we have. Let's wait for other also. On YouTube. All right, good. Okay, so let's get moving. So here is what we have to think about now. Fear trap and the trick to solve it, crushing your fear. We are going to do that. We all know that it is a trap. Fear actually is a trap, and we have to like crush it. And that's what we are going to do. And I can tell you the trick is so simple that for a minute you may believe that or ask yourself a question. Is it so simple? It is, but only when you understand the law, only when you actually get involved with the idea that I'm going to deliver to you today. So it is very, very important to be open-minded, because there are three things that you can do today. Either you can reject that idea, or you can accept that idea, or you can play with that idea. And I'm going to recommend you, don't just accept that idea. Don't just reject that idea. Play with that idea for next few weeks. And then apply it to your life. Apply it to your fears you're having right now. Apply it to the things that you're facing challenges with. And then see how it will help you to overcome those challenges. Doesn't matter whatever challenges you have, I can tell you, I can bet you on that. And understand that Sandy Gallagher gave this quotation, and I love it. She said, fear and growth goes hand in hand. When you courageously, that means you got to have the courage. You cannot just sit back and relax in your house and wait the things to fall in your lap. They are not going to be like that. You got to have the guts. You got to bet on yourself, and you courageously go out and take action on the things that are meaningful to you, your business, your life, anything. Everything is absolutely essential for you. Your goals are important, and you got to courageously face, take action on them. That's what she said. Fear and growth go hand in hand. When you courageously face the thing you fear, you automatically experience growth you have been seeking. So growth doesn't come by being comfortable. Growth only comes when you stretch yourself, when you make yourself uncomfortable, when you go through a process of change. And when you go through that process of change, that is a time when slowly and steadily you start building that attitude, or something we call as success, or your results. And guess what? For a person to change their results, they must conquer their fears. And this requires a strong conscious control over our thinking. We got to control our thinking, because when we are surrounded by fear, we can easily allow those fear to dictate our thinking. It's like fear is on that frequency, and the moment you get on the same frequency, the fear will allow and force you to think on the same terms. What you got to do, you got to understand that I am emotionally, consciously, physically involved in the vibration of the fear, and I got to change it. And how to change it? A very simple analogy. If you get it, your life will begin to change. And the analogy is this right there. Fear is a positive indicator. Now, some of you are going to look at that and going to feel, wait a minute, what does that mean? What does that mean, Sukhbir? It is a positive indicator. That means fear is just like an indicator. It is pointing out in a certain direction in your life, and it is telling you that this is the area of your life you gotta improve if you want to grow and become the person you want to become. Many people treat fear as a negative thing, but I can tell you it is a positive feedback coming from your own self to you, telling you that whatever your name is, Bobby, Tony, this is what you got to improve in yourself if you want to hit your goal. Imagine how much easier our life will become if we just bring this change of perception to our thinking. And actually, for the matter of fact, it is a change in perception. It's nothing else. It is a change in perception. We got to change our perception. It's all that is right there. The moment you change your perception, you make yourself ready to learn. And when you're ready to learn, that is a time when you're going to overcome your challenge. That is a time when you're going to become a better person than who you are right now. And then, bang, you go across the barrier. You go across that illusion, the wall of illusion that is scaring you, that is holding you back. My dear friends, fear is just that. It's a positive indicator. For example, let's say someone has a goal to write $1 million into sales, and they're afraid of talking to people. That what does that mean? That means they have to become comfortable talking to people. That means they have to learn that skill. It is telling you the direction. It is telling you the direction that you got to improve. It's not like that it is stopping you. It's not like that it is holding you back. It's just simply saying you that, Sophie, that's what is needed to be improved. Here you go. Change that perception. It's a small perception. Now, all of you have written a fear in the beginning. I want you to apply this theory right now, right here. Think about the change in perception and ask yourself, what action I'm going to take now? Spend 2 minutes here. What action I'm going to take here? Spend 2 minutes, write that down. I hope you got the question. If anyone has a trouble with the question, you can let me know in the chat box. I hope everybody has got the question and you are writing your answers. Once you're done, just let me know in the chat box. All right, so the question here is, Avnish, that the fear that you have right now in your life, look at that fear with the analogy of a positive indicator. And then with this analogy, ask yourself a question: what action I can take in order to achieve what I want to achieve? Look at your fear, ask yourself why I'm stopping myself, then it will give you the answer what you have to improve. And then to improve that, what actions you have to take, write them on a sheet of paper. I hope you get it now, Avnish. Perfect. Do it now. Once you're done, guys, just let me know in the chat box. And then I'm going to share something very beautiful, very, very beautiful with you. If you're done, simply say yes in the chat box. All right, perfect. So let's begin. Now, I have a book right now here, and there's an interesting poem that I would love to read it for you. And it is about take a leap. It's like leap of faith. So pay very close attention to that poem, okay? It's a very small poem. The poem starts by saying, "Come to the edge," he said. They said, "We are afraid." Come to the edge, he said. They came, he pushed them. And you know what happened? And they flew. We all are on the edge of our lives where we are not making that jump, the jump of faith, the leap of faith. Understand that both fear and faith force you to believe in something that you cannot see with your physical senses. It is something on the invisible side, and you got to put your trust in one. It would be a very foolish idea for someone to put their trust into fear when they know that both fear and faith are equally present in the same situation. And it just depends upon a choice. Both are invisible. They are not visible to your sensory sight. They are right there in the divine intelligence, in the abundant universe. But it's a personal choice you are going to make. Either you will make a choice that I go for fear, or you make a choice that I go for faith. It's just as simple as it is. But that will become more simple for you with application and with implementation. For example, You cannot learn to drive by sitting at your home and feeling that I'm afraid to drive, I'm afraid to drive, I'm afraid to drive. You may take some classes and then you drive it. You drive it for a few miles and then you will learn it, and slowly and steadily you will be start driving it for many, many miles. That's how it works. That's how it works. If you're afraid of speaking, start speaking. Take some classes, talk to people, and talk to people who will not judge you. And if you cannot find anybody, imagine them. Just stand in your room and just speak. It's just like the way whole world is listening. Whatever your fears are, there is a positive indicator. You gotta locate it, and then you gotta find the meaning of it. You gotta start working towards it, and then understand, very, very importantly, that conquering your fear all starts with the mind. And you know that our mind is the master power. James Allen said that. He said mind is the master power that molds and makes, and man is mind. Evermore he takes the tool of thought, shaping what he wills, bring forth 1,000 joys and 1,000 ills. He think into secret, and it comes to pass. Environment is but is his looking glass. So whatever you plant right there, you will get it back. You sow the seeds of fear, you get the harvest of fear. You see the, feed the seeds of faith, you will have a harvest of faith. It is as simple as it is. The law of cause and effect. In Bible it is said, what you shall sow, you shall reap. It's as simple as it is. So you got to understand that it's always and always a choice. So let's begin to think. But this is the time to put a serious thinking into it. I learned from my mentor Bob Proctor that thinking is one of the hardest functions, is the highest function we are capable of doing, but there are very few people who think. Very few. Only 2% of the people actually thinking. Rest of the world is just following the masses. So you gotta think seriously about your dreams, your visions, what you're thinking about them. Are you looking at them as challenges that can never be done? Or you're looking at them something like that excites you, that you're willing to put in every possible way you can put action into it? It's a matter of thinking, nothing else, nothing else. And you got to bring order into your life. Understand that Troward wrote it. Thomas Troward is one of the best author, and in fact one of the toughest to understand. You cannot read his book once and understand him. You have to read it through your whole life to understand it in a better way. He said that order is heaven's first law. What does that mean? Until or unless you don't have order in your mind, it's a calmness. It's calmness is required here. Just like the way James Allen put it in the chapter number 7 on his book As a Man Thinking, which is on serenity. He said, calmness of mind is one of the most beautiful jewels of wisdom. It is the long and patient effort in self-control. So you got to build that self-control, and it starts with a calmness of mind, and that brings order. Once the order is there in the mind, there can be no confusion. And if there is no confusion, there will be no doubts and worries. And if there are no doubts and worries, there will be no fear. So you got to bring that order and understand that once you bring that order, your results will change. It will change. How they happen? They happen by what we have in our mind here. You may have heard the formula. It starts with the thoughts. You have to think about you think in a positive term, you feel in a positive term, then you will act in a positive term, and you will get results in a positive term. It is as simple as it is. So you got to think about it, you got to feel about it, and you got to take action about it. Feeling is very important. Don't feel fearful. Feel courage. Feel the vibrations of like there is something that fascinates you, something that excites you. Imagine what will happen once I achieve the result that I'm seeking. That will create a feeling that will be unmatchable, my dear friends. Unmatchable. You gotta seriously, seriously think about it. And then there is something beautiful. Results happen always in accordance with the law. And that law is the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, which state that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. It is always transforming itself from one form to another. You're a human body. Your mind is always attracting energies, and that energy is invisible energy. You cannot see it, but through your thoughts, by analyzing it, by getting emotionally involved with it, bang, you create that into a result. That's what is happening with everybody. We do it every time, but we have to work with that analogy that I gave you. And the analogy is pretty simple. And that analogy is treat your fear as a positive indicator. When you treat your fear as a positive indicator, you will get the results that you're seeking. It is a beautiful concept. I mean, literally beautiful concept. It is. I hope you're getting it. And then the results always tell the truth. Your results may not be what you want them right now, but let me tell you one thing. If you start working on them, if you start applying the analogy that I have shared with you today, if you start learning skills that will support you in the accomplishment of your goal, and if you start studying every single day, building a positive mindset, having great mentors, your results are assured. They are assured. Just like the way a seed planted in the earth, taken care properly, provided complete nourishment, is bound to grow and become a gigantic tree. Similarly, your results are. A properly planted goal in the depth of the mind, subconscious mind, taken care of, repetitively applied nourishment will allow you to get the results that you're seeking. And then understand that there's a law. It's a law is pretty simple. It is a perpetual transmutation of energy. But as you know already about the mind, so I've shared a little bit about it. Now I want you to think about it for a minute. Okay, think about it. What I said about the analogy. Think about it again. The analogy that I have shared with you. The analogy of positive indicator. Think about that and ask yourself a question: how I can actually bring that change in my life that I'm seeking. Spend a couple of minutes if you want, because that is going to be a big turnaround for you. A big turnaround, I can tell you. Applying the analogy of the positive indicator, big things will happen. I hope you're going to apply that from this point onwards. And since this lesson will be on YouTube in a recorded format, so you can watch it over and over again whenever you want it. So there is no trouble with that. So now, if you have questions, you can type there. If you're on YouTube, you can type your question on the YouTube chat box. If you're right now here with me in Zoom, you can type your question here in the Zoom. As I can see, a lot of you are joining here with us on YouTube, are sending me highs. So my hi, my gratitude, and my best wishes to every single one who is watching this right now. I'm truly grateful for having you all. So guys, in case you have question with respect to fear, let's bring it right now, right here. You have question with respect to fear, whatever your fears are you're facing, you can just ask me in the chat box. I would love to answer. And in case you have no question, you can simply say no question, so that we don't waste your time and my time. If you're on YouTube, guys, you can ask question. Awesome, Ajay. I am glad to know that you have received this analogy at the right time. Now apply it. Prema, it is very simple. The analogy states that if you're afraid of something in your life, okay, treat it as a positive indicator. What does that mean? Ask yourself objectively what I am afraid of, and then see which area I have to improve in order to overcome this fear. Because fear is pointing out in a certain direction in your life where you got to improve something. It could be a skill, it could be a behavior, it could be a mindset, it could be anything. Once you made that improvement, bang, you will overcome that fear. And that is done through that positive analogy that I've shared with you. Okay, so put that into action, Prema. I hope you get it down. All right, so who has the next question? As I said, you can ask your questions in YouTube also. Any of you who are connected here with us on YouTube, and if you're right here with me in Zoom, you can simply ask your question in the Zoom chat box. You don't have to list down your fears prima necessary. What you have to do is you just have to mentally think about your fear and list out the qualities you have to improve in yourself in order to overcome that fear. Okay. And if writing your fear helps you, you can do that. But literally, later on, burn that page. Fear can be because of the past bad experience, so it may happen that it takes time to overcome. It will take time, but nobody knows how much time. So it's better to start taking action on it. Usually, fears are from unknown causes. Yes, it can be from past experience of niche, but then you got to break it. You build a new mindset because past, experiences, fears, or whatever they were based upon the past mindset that we had. So ask yourself what adjustment I can make in my mindset right now and to overcome it. Time, it always takes time, but how much, that depends upon you. Focus, how much focused you are. Awesome, great. So Ajay said, I first time heard this analogy. The good news is that, Ajay, in my book, I am explaining this analogy to a very bigger level. It is just a small insights that I have given you about that analogy. All right, so there is a next question from Nigeria. I have great fear in speaking my mind as I don't like angering anyone. This has been hindered. So forget about this, Naviria. Just ask yourself a simple question, that how speaking is going to help you to grow in your life and in your business. And then just focus on that. Just focus on that. If you have to take some classes in public speaking, take that. You have to read some books on public speaking, read that. But go ahead and take an action. That's as simple as that. Either you can focus on what bad about it, or you can focus on what will be good in it if I overcome it. And that's where your focus has to be. What will be good in it once I overcome it? That should be the point of focus, Naviria. I hope you get it now. Okay? So take action. Lovely question. I love it. All right. Who else has a question? YouTube, do you have any questions right there? I see there are many of you who are connected with us on YouTube. I hope you have, you know, subscribed to our channel also. All right. Perfect. All right, guys. If you have no more question, you can simply say no more question. Thank you so much, Chintan, for sharing the link. If anybody wants to book a free strategy session to discuss about our company programs that we have, then how we can help you further, you can go to the link and sign up for a free session. All right, then, guys. I don't see any more questions right there. So thank you so much for being here. I will see you next week on Tuesday with our coaching hour. Tell them keep inviting your friends and family to our coaching hour because this is something where we create conversation that changes life. See you on Tuesday. Till then, take care and have a great day.